Assalamu alaikum, konnichiwa, and welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today I'm going to be tapping into a very personal side of my life. I've been getting quite a few emails consistently from sisters wanting to know how I was able to transition my old life into the life that I'm living now. Now, I'm not going to go into depth about the whole modesty factor because I've kind of talked about that a lot. How I grew up in the figure skating and dancing world, and I was comfortable showing my body because of the outfits we wore and the routines we did, etc. But I wasn't showing my body for attention from other people or for men. I just now am trying to break that habit of showing my body just because it's more modest to not show your body. But again, I wasn't showing my body for men. It was just because I grew up in that dancing, elegant, artistic world where you do show your body in figure skating and dancing. What I'm pretty much going to talk about are the poor decisions that I was making in my life from 9th grade till 12th grade. So from age 15/16 to 17/18. I'm not going to talk about my childhood. If you guys would like to know an in-depth story about my childhood and what it was like, it was pretty awesome and pretty amazing. Alhamdulillah, I was very, very blessed to have a really amazing childhood, even though my father wasn't around because he passed away from a rare form of lung cancer, if you guys didn't know. But I had a really amazing childhood. I couldn't have been blessed with a more better one. I just kind of want to say that because I'm going to be talking about something more negative, so I don't want you guys to think that my whole entire life was just this complete destruction mess ball. I did have an amazing childhood. I had great education. I had amazing family support, etc., etc. So we're not going to really talk about baby to 14. Those were the innocent years, so to speak. We're going to talk about when I started to rebel against my mother and when I started to do things of my own will and want and getting into things that I didn't need to do, and how I broke those habits now being a Muslim. I don't feel that I'm a bad person. I'm going to say that now out of defense for myself. You know, we all do things that are haram or not completely correct, or that are during a time where we weren't thinking about the best of our intentions so much. But I will accredit myself to never being a bad person. I feel that I am one of the nicest people you'll probably ever meet. I'm very empathetic, I'm very caring, and I feel that I have too much love in my heart to keep to myself, so I'm always trying to give it. I feel sometimes, by the way, it's good for you to sit down and think about all the positives of yourself, because it's not being conceited or anything. It's you acknowledging that you are an amazing, beautiful person and that you should accredit yourself for the beautiful qualities that you have. So I just kind of did that a little bit, but just so you guys know that I'm not just this dysfunctional person. Now, 9th grade, like I told you, that was still kind of in the innocent stage. I wasn't doing anything so extreme. I did engage in a brief journey with self-harm, as you guys knew. I stopped that by the end of my 9th grade year. I was having my eating disorder begin during that time, and my eating disorder continued all the way until pretty much right before I got my brain injury, post-concussion syndrome, because I started to eat better for my brain injury. So that was a long time period, the eating disorder. It was off and on throughout 9th grade till I turned 20. So that was like 5 or 6 years. Beyond those two things, 9th grade was pretty self-explanatory. I was just trying to be more rebellious, so I was trying out different styles. I was really getting into the punk, goth, rock star fashion. I was really starting to find my identity in how I expressed myself, and that pretty much is in the dark fashion, the elaborate rock fashion. I wore every punk tee that you could possibly find at Hot Topic. I had every punk bracelet, so that was my style. That's pretty much what I did then. Moving on from there, during my senior year, and at this time I was introduced to Islam, and I was really, really, really passionate about wanting to revert, but I still wasn't ready, mentally, physically, emotionally, anything. So I'm still so glad that I chose to wait to revert instead of reverting right away when I had the will and passion to want to revert. Anyways, through my senior year, that's when you think you're on sky high. You're the oldest of the school. You're about to graduate and go to college. You are starting to see your body evolve in different ways. You're having more control and power of yourself to make more decisions. So that was a really high time for me. It was one of the worst time periods of my life, and some things I'm going to keep private, but it was also one of the best time periods of my life. 6th grade, however, I tell everybody this, 6th grade was the best year of my life. No year in my life I think will ever compare to my school year of 6th grade. That year was awesome. But 12th grade was the second runner-up. In that year, I met a guy, a dude, and this dude was a Muslim, actually. He was Arabic, he was Yemeni and Lebanese, I believe. But anyways, we met at this stupid teen club, and we started to become friends and talk more often. And I was so intrigued with the Muslim culture, and yes, that did have a lot to do with the Arabic culture, because at the time I only knew Arabic people to be Muslims. So meeting him and understanding that he was a Muslim and that he had this certain culture and lifestyle, I was very much so intrigued. But instead of being intrigued to kind of push him to teach me about Islam, I kind of fell victim, and I will say I fell victim because I was very impressionable during that time. I fell victim to just being influenced and intrigued by what he wanted to present to me. So he presented his lifestyle to me, which was not the greatest by any means. I remember one time I was hanging out with him. He was never my actual boyfriend, if this makes sense. You know, in my mind, he probably was, but we never were actually boyfriend and girlfriend. He was just an influence and a friend and somebody I would hang out with. But I remember this one time I was sitting with him and I did not feel good at all, and I said I have a terrible headache. And keep in mind, like, I never knew anything really about drugs. I came from a Christian school. I was very sheltered, so I was starting to learn about things on my own. And I said to him, I have a terrible headache, I do not feel well at all. And he says, no problem, I'll get you something, don't worry about it. That's how he used to talk. And I said, okay. And he hands me a little pill, and I just popped it in my mouth, because any guy at my school that would have came up to me with, you know, medication because I said I don't feel good would have actually given me Motrin or, you know, Tylenol, something that actually is for what I'm feeling. They wouldn't have been dishonest. He gave me an ecstasy pill. You know, that was kind of a crappy experience for somebody to take advantage of a young girl like that. I remember another time I was hanging out with him, and, you know, I'm just telling you guys kind of brief stories about my life back then. But I remember another time he used to take me around places, and he would say, this is my sharmuta, this is my sharmuta, and he told me that it meant beautiful, or like baby, or, you know, sweetheart. I come to find out after he had been calling me this to all his friends and family and stuff in public for maybe half a year that it meant a very derogatory word. So after that, you know, that kind of really jacked me up to realize that I had been walking around this whole city being called a sharmuta, and I didn't even know it. And, you know, people were deceiving me and just smiling and laughing after he'd said it, like, yeah. So that kind of really hurt me, and after that it really did damage me. I started to experiment with marijuana. I remember the first time I smoked marijuana, and not that you guys really need to know this, but I'm telling you guys because I'm comfortable, and it kind of helps me just let go of these memories. But the first time I tried it, I burst into tears and started crying because I did not like the feeling that it gave my body at all. I was like, whoa, like, this is intense, like, stop. So that should have been a sign not to do it again, but I was stupid and young, and I kind of kept doing it, and I never did anything more than that. I never did heroin or cocaine or shrooms or anything like that, but I did start smoking marijuana every often. I started to drink at parties all the time, and after a bad experience with drinking, I completely stopped doing that because I realized, whoa, like, if my body is reacting to alcohol this negatively, I shouldn't be putting it into my body. So I stopped drinking pretty much the end of my senior year. I did implied modeling, and people were asking me, what exactly is implied modeling? It's pretty much where you're standing in front of the camera, you have no clothes on, but you're covering your body with your hand, or with fruit, or with ice cubes, or with leaves from outside. You know, it's a lot of weird avant-garde things, which essentially all of the shots were artistic. They're so beautiful. I can't discredit that. All of the shots I ever took were gorgeous shots, but they were showing my body. They were completely immodest. I was also You know, I went to university, I was working 2 jobs, I did a lot of positive things, but, you know, on the few things that I did not so great, those were what they were. Now, how did I transition and stop? What I did was I started reading. I started reading the Quran. I started connecting with people. I started asking questions. I started really sitting down and thinking, what am I doing, and should I be doing this, and am I proud of myself with what I'm doing? It did take time to stop those things. It didn't happen right when I reverted. So when I took my Shahada a week later, I did go back to doing certain things, but because of the fact that I reverted, it really gave me that mindset, and it was like that little voice in the back of my head when I did want to do these bad things. I would say, I just reverted to Islam, I'm a Muslim, I shouldn't be doing this. And for a long time, about a year, I was going back and forth with myself, hearing that voice and listening to it sometimes and not listening to it sometimes. You know, it just took about a year's time to really get all that out of my system. And pretty much what really got me to living the lifestyle I live now is my brain injury. Alhamdulillah, I cannot say that enough. If I didn't get this brain injury, I may still be living the life that I was living before, in a up and down, back and forth state. Some days really Islamic, some days not so Islamic, some days halal, some days haram. And I want to live as halal as I can. And I know that's not going to be exactly possible because we are haram by nature, we are sinners by nature, but I strive to live halal. So when I got my injury, that's when I fell flat on my butt. I had nowhere else to turn to but to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's when I really started reading. I started to really learn my prayers. I started to learn about different words of Islam. I started to learn about things going on in my Islamic culture around the world. I started to share my story via YouTube, and now here I am today with so many amazing friends, supporters, and sisters and brothers via YouTube. So I just started to really tap into this new lifestyle, and I love it, and I wouldn't change anything about who I am, who I become, and where I see myself going. And I know I'm still going to have ups and downs, and I know that I still may do things that are not going to be the best for what I should be doing, but alhamdulillah, I have let go of so much, and I'm in such a new place, and that's what you aim for. Don't worry about how long it's going to take you to let go of something. Don't worry about if you are going to let go of it or not. If you have faith in your heart, if you have the intention, one day you will let go. If you are a consistent cigarette smoker and you want to let go of smoking cigarettes once you revert, and that's what's holding you back from reverting smoking cigarettes, no. Revert. Take your Shahada and keep making the intentions and strides, and one day you're going to find yourself never picking up another cigarette to smoke again in your life, inshallah. Same thing with hijab. You know, 2 years ago, this would not be happening on the daily, routinely, in front of you guys all the time, intentionally. Wouldn't be happening. It's happening now because I have allowed myself to go through every bit of up and down and crack and curve that I needed to get to where I am today. And I cannot wait to see where I'm going to be in another 2 to 3 years. And just to think of, I am only 23, so to inshallah live a long life of being a Muslim, I can only hope and imagine and keep optimism of where I'm going to be as the years and decades go on. So just think about the future, think about the victory, don't think about the battle. We're all going to have a battle. So if you are wanting to revert and there's something holding you back because you were living this way before, you were drinking or smoking, being promiscuous, dressing a certain way, your friends, your family, do not let that hold you back, because you are cutting yourself short of an amazing journey that is only going to bring you positive outcomes, and you are going to send that positivity out to other people. So do not hold back. If you feel you're ready to revert, you're ready to take your Shahada, take your Shahada. I will be a supporter of you. I will be here for you when you need somebody to go to, when you're like, I'm doing these things again, but I'm a Muslim, what do? I'm freaking out, how do I get through this? I will be here for you, because I've been there, I've done that. I'm still going through my own struggles of trying to let go of things. Do not wait to become one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not wait to enter into the most peaceful religion that you could possibly enter into. Do not wait to do something that is only going to be better for you. So if you have anything else you'd like me to speak on from this topic, any questions, let's kind of leave my past in the past. I did share some stories with you guys, but let's leave it as far as that. Let's let me choose to share something with you if I choose to. Don't continue to pry and ask more or make lies or backbite or, you know, whatever could happen from me letting this information out. Please just leave it at that. So please, let's just move forward and let the past be the past. Let me sort out my past, because this is who I am today, and you are going to be somebody amazing today from today on as well. Let go of your past and live for your future. So with that, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care and sayonara.